All right, so this is our second little video, and this will be our last on presenting your research. And here we're going to think about how we're practically going to do this through Zoom and what you want to do while you're presenting and to get ready for it. First thing you need to think about with something like Zoom is to be in the right space for it. You should also think about your presentation. Here I'm wearing a t-shirt, though I'm so overly backlit you can't even tell it's me. This is not a mystery show. You should choose a place where you have more front lighting. It should be a professional environment. We expect you to treat this like a kind of a professional interview. It should be a quiet space. You should be comfortable, but you should also be relatively professional looking. So I don't know why I'm randomly looking somewhere else in that photo, but this is where I typically Zoom from. It's kind of in a corner of my office. I have books behind me. I have some wooden mahogany thing behind me. I'm wearing a professional shirt. The camera's not really looking up at me. It's looking directly at me. And these are all things that I set up beforehand. I mean, the book's already there. But I've thought clearly about what's behind me, what do people see, how do I present myself? You know, books make me look smart until you get to know me, and then, you know, I'm really just dumb as dirt. Other things you want to think about is downloading Zoom, practicing with it. What you're going to be doing in Zoom is sharing your screen and having your slides come up on the screen. So you're going to want to be in a place to do that. Probably have a computer if you can. But test the equipment always. Practice ahead of time. Set up your camera. See how it works. Test the levels of the microphone. Always have backups. Make sure you distribute your slides to everyone, but always have backups somewhere in an email, on a flash drive. This goes for in-person and online as well. The other thing you want to do is to practice. Don't let the first time you do it be the first time you do it. Go over it ahead of time. Have notes. Know how you're going to present. We'll look at the organization of presentation. But you don't want to stumble and stutter through it. You want to look competent and professional, and you want your slides to look that way as well. One thing I hate is when people put up slides and they read what's on the slide, which is completely besides the point, because if the information's on the slide, then why would they be telling us that? Right? Your slides, as I said in the last video, should be like an outline. They should draw our attention to particular words or things or concepts. They shouldn't be things that we're really actively reading. Most of the information should come from you in the actual presentation. Have your notes, but you shouldn't even be able to have to rely on your notes. You should know your material. You should know your slide order. Normally in person we'd say make eye contact, address your whole audience. Again, we won't be doing it in person, but you still want to keep your audience engaged. Alter your voice. Normally in presentations I say move, don't sit behind a computer and read off of something. You want to make eye contact in presentations. You want to move around. And then here, of course, you can't really move in a video, but you want to alter your voice. Make it sound like you're not just repeating something you've memorized or you're reading off a page, because then it shows a lack of confidence. It makes it sound like you don't know what you're talking about. All right, so you really want to think about the content of your slides. I sent you all these slides already, so you should have some idea of the example I had after that. Your slides should summarize and distill information, so I don't need to see a quote from every single article in your lit review. You want to generally cover what the studies in your lit review say, but you don't need to go over every single thing. We're expecting about 15 minutes for a nice tight presentation. You do want to organize everything so we can follow you. Basically, you want to kind of walk us through the steps. So first you want to cover, you know, what is the issue that you're talking about? What's the problem and why should we care? Here's where you kind of want to grab your audience and get their attention. Once you've kind of covered the issue and some of the why we should care, then you want to introduce us to your fundamental research questions. Here you'll need to summarize some things from your literature review. You'll need to introduce us to key terms and concepts that we might not be familiar with. Keeping in mind that you've read a lot of these research articles and we haven't, so you need to put us in the loop of what key terms you're going to be talking about if you're going to be using them. Then you'll need to talk in depth about what research methods you used. If you use secondary data, talk about how that information was gathered. If you did an original analysis, you want to go pretty in depth and you want to explain why you thought these methods were the best to answer your research question. Then the bulk of it, you really want to discuss your findings. What did you find? How does this relate to your research question? Why is it important? What didn't you expect to find? What was surprising? And then in your conclusion, you want to tell us why do your findings matter? How can we use this information? Who could use this information? What might be the next steps or a next research project to follow up from this? All right, so to summarize, you want to use your slides as an outline. You want to have most of the material in you, so to speak, and you want to walk us through it and talk us through it. You want to be dynamic. You don't want us reading slides because that's not what slides are for. You want them to outline, to illustrate, to provide examples. And you want to walk us through your research process in a way that's clear and that we can follow.